Hey guys, welcome to Video Game Corner. It's me, Jason. Today I'm going to be giving you another episode of Tales of Gaming, and this is a good one. I'm trying to think of a good story to tell, and it involves everybody's favorite co-host, Freddy. And Freddy and I, we hadn't known each other for very long. I used to own a comic book store here in Porterville before I got really sick. And there's this other guy we knew named Steven. He's actually the guy I met my girlfriend through because they were dating originally, but he ended up owing me some money, and he just quit talking to me because he owed me some money for comics, so whatever. Whole nother story there. But anyway, so the three of us were hanging out at the shop after hours, and we decided to sit down and we were going to play Super Nintendo. And this is back before I got really heavy into gaming. I had a Super Nintendo and a Genesis and a Nintendo and stuff at the shop. I would play sometimes. And we decided, you know, Steven brought some games over, and I had some games, and we were playing. It was a pretty fun night. We were playing, you know, they were playing Mario World and Super Mario World and Mario Kart, and it was pretty fun. I wasn't really into Mario Kart or Mario World. I was just kind of hanging out. Freddy was drinking. I think Steven, they were both drinking. I wasn't drinking because I had to drive later, and I wasn't going to do that. I don't like, you know. Plus, I would get sick because I felt, because I had problems, and every time I drink, I'd start vomiting, so I didn't do it. I didn't want to get sick, plus I wasn't going to take the chance, because at the time, I was living out, I was trying to save money to get the shop, so I could have the shop running as best as possible, so I was living in my van. I had a big old van. It was a 76 Dodge. And I converted the inside. I gutted the back, and I put carpet in and padding, and, you know, like new carpet. I went and got a piece of remnant carpet from a carpet place, new carpet. There's a bed in there. I built I had some shelves, a couple shelves, and I set it up for like as a little miniature studio apartment. The only thing it didn't have was a bathroom, but I stayed out at the campsite out here, and they charged me it was $300 a month, and I had electricity. I just plug it all in and everything. It was really nice and convenient. I had heat, everything I needed, and because the little space heater heat that whole place up. It was really comfy, and I had like these big lights in the top, and I would work out in there. I'd lift weights, and I'd go walking around the campsite or jogging if I fell up to it, and it was really nice. It was very convenient. It was real pretty out there, very quiet. You could hear all the, you know, the river was right behind me where my spot was, and you could hear the water running. Like in the mornings, I'd wake up and I'd hear like the birds chirping and the water running, and it was really cool. Because Porterville is a very rural area, and there's a lot of like we got a lake in the town here. It's like 7, 8 miles from my house, from my apartment. We have a lake here. It's called Lake Success. Very small lake, but it's here. I've actually taken my boat out there when my boat was working. I'm gonna hopefully get that fixed this year, but so I haven't used it in a long time. But anyway, you know, the town's very rural. It's very very quiet. Actually, my dad. Here's a little side story. My dad was watching some show called, I guess, Myth and Monsters in America. And they're talking about Porterville, and he's like, whoa, his mind was blown. I guess in one of the houses by the river, we have what's called the Tule River here, T-U-L-E. And I guess there was this house that was right on the river, and some woman or some woman saw some thing in the back looking in her window at her, and it looked like a gnome. And I guess they're called water babies. And she says that it looked like a gnome, and it was kind of like doing all this stuff and laughing at her and making sounds and freaking her out, and she ended up moving. And I went and I looked at, my dad was telling me that he thought it was really interesting because it was Porterville. So I went online, I looked it up, and there's another story about a family who lived there, and they had a pond in the backyard, and then they had like garden gnomes and little things in the yard. And they look out their backyard one night, and there's this little gnome there with like a pointy hat and dirty looking clothes and everything. And he stood about 3 feet tall, you know, 2.5, 3 feet tall, and they were looking at him, and the gnome could tell. He like looked up at him, and they opened the window and said, "Hey, get out of here, we're gonna call the cops." And I guess he turned around and gave him the finger. And so they called the cops, and of course the cops didn't find anything except little footprints. And who knows if it's all true? I don't know. You know, it's probably just made up, but who the hell knows? You never know what's out there. And but so they would watch the gnome every night. The gnome would come out, and he'd take one of their little fish, their little koi, and eat them, just swallow them whole. Well, they decided to take the last fish. They put it in a fish tank, and they cleared out all the little trinkets in the backyard, the little, you know, all the garden decoration. Well, the gnome came back that night, and he was pissed. He started screaming and yelling and making this gurgling sound and going around the house, and he was kind of half floating, they said. Real crazy stuff. And so they had a doggy door, and they remembered, and they went running in, and the dog was barking at the dog door. So I guess this thing was about to come into the house. So they blocked off the dog door, and this thing just basically tormented them the entire night, and they decided to just move and get the heck out of there. And they did, and the thing never, you know, and they were talking about like some shed had one, and they tore the shed down, and it was gone. But these are a couple different stories all here in Porterville, and I was like, huh, that's really weird when you hear the same stories from the same town, and they're different people. So it makes you wonder if there is stuff we don't know about or don't understand, but my dad was like, you know, I was thinking about sleeping out, you know, camping out by the river, but I've changed my mind. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. You never know. So I thought I'd share that funny little story with you. It's real interesting stuff. Because, you know, they're always talking about, you know, mythical creatures, and did they ever exist, or what? Who knows? So we're out there at the camp. We're out there at the comic shop, hanging out after hours, playing Super Nintendo. They're drinking, I'm hanging out. We're having fun, we're playing for hours. So we're playing Tetris. And if you guys have ever heard, or not Tetris, but Dr. Mario, and I don't know if you guys ever heard in previous videos, I'm a Dr. Mario Tetris master. Freddy's not. And as a joke, we decide to do, because in Dr. Mario you can play against each other, and then you can raise your levels. So I did my level at level 20, and Freddy was at level 4, which is like the lowest level, and that means it's like 4 pills up, and mine was 20 up. So it was more of like us screwing around. It was supposed to be a joke, and Freddy was just supposed to beat me real quick. He screws up because he's drinking, right? So he's not thinking very clearly. He's got a good buzz going. He screws up and messes up, and I ended up clearing through all 20 and flattening out and bringing my stuff down. Because every time you get to a certain point, when you bring it down, if you do 2 or more Dr. Mario combinations, it drops extra pills in the opponent's side. So I kept doing that, and it's dropping down. He can't recover, and it ends up filling up and go to the top. And it was so funny. To this day, our joke is, you know, he just won't play Dr. Mario against me, because he knows, he's just afraid it's going to happen again. Because he's like, that was embarrassing, and it's pretty funny. And the other thing is, after we're playing this, now I had these kids that kept knocking on my door and running away. And they lived down the street, and I'd get outside and I'd see them running down the street. And the thing is, you know, as you guys know, I'm a big guy. But back then I was walking and jogging a lot. There's a gym next door to my shop, which the owner of my building was the gym owner, and she would let me work out for free at the gym, because I would, you know, do odd jobs around the property for extra, you know, just to, you know, because I, you know, to help out. So she'd let me work out for free. And so I was jogging a lot at the time. And I'm a big guy, but if I want to, I can move really fast for short periods. It's pretty funny. Like, when about 15 years ago, I could do backflips, and I was over 300 pounds at the time. So, I mean, I've got natural athletic ability. I've just always been too big to really put it to use. So these kids would, yeah, they would knock, and you know, it's usually during business hours. Well, we're there that night. They come and they egg my front door. I hear boom, 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 boom. And I jump up and I take off running. And Freddie's like, I've never seen anybody move that fast. And it's kind of funny, you know, if you ever hear him tell the story, he still talks about it. And I ran out there, and man, them kids were gone. I could see them. But I was hot on the case. But yeah, they egged a couple. We just hosed it off. It wasn't any real big deal, but they did. I don't think they did it after. They didn't mess with us after that because they knew I was coming after them. I moved pretty fast, and they probably freaked them out because they could see how fast I was moving. I mean, I was running, and I weighed, God, at that time I think I was like 340 pounds, 325, something like that. And I just went, pew! And I didn't even hesitate when I hear boom, boom, boom. I just got up and just ran past these guys. So it was getting late, and they decided to go home, but they're like in shock about how fast I moved. So it was pretty funny. I'll have, the next video I do with Freddie, I'm going to bring it up. I'll have him tell the story. It's just pretty funny. But anyway, guys, you know, I just figured I'd tell those little stories, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. You know, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls. I was thinking about doing a Dark Souls story because there's a lot of really cool boss battle stories, but, you know, I thought this was a little bit more personal, and it was a lot funnier than, you know, like stuff with Dark Souls. But I've been looking into Dark Souls. Playing Dark Souls has got my interest in medieval weaponry and armor. I've always enjoyed that kind of stuff. I actually have a sword. I have like an Excalibur that I keep here in the house that I've had for years. I've had it for like almost 15 years, and it's got a little bit of rust. It was in storage, and it was standing on the inside the sheath, and the tip is a little rusted out, and I need to fix it as best I can and smooth it out. Because I had it sharpened years ago, and the blade's still in pretty decent shape except for the tip. And but yeah, I went ahead and actually, let me show you the tip. Let me show you here. Be right back. As you can see, it's not an expensive sword. I paid 30 bucks for it years ago. But if you look at the tip, you guys can see how it got all, you know, a little rusted out and stuff. And I wish there was a way to... I don't really want to do anything until I know what I'm doing. I mean, it's like surface rust. I was thinking about maybe getting a whetstone or wet and dry sandpaper and just kind of working on it, but who knows. But anyway, I've been playing Dark Souls, so I'm getting into the medieval type weaponry and armor, and because I think it's so... I've always had a fascination for it, and I think it's so cool. And I was thinking about looking into... I started looking into this morning about how to make your own armor at home. Now, I don't have a garage, so I can't make any like real stuff, but there's some stuff you can do using sheet metal and regular tools you can buy at Home Depot, or, you know, you have lying around the house. Oh, excuse me. But the other thing is you can do like what cosplayers do. They use a program called oh, what is it's called? I just learned what it was. We're something. I'll leave a link in the description on that, and you guys go look it up. It basically does this 3D modeling to where you can make like helmets and stuff and armor out of paper. Because I guess a lot of those Halo and Star Wars cosplayers, they use this software to make it, and then you make it out of... The guy showed he made it out of paper. And I'll link the video I saw too. I'll link it to his. He made it out of paper, and he was showing how you can use like wood glue, watered down wood glue, where you can paint it to harden it up, and but that's not like a really good way to do it. Or you can use fiberglass and resin, and that, like, I guess that makes them like really sturdy. And then if you want to smooth them out, people use Bondo for like cars, for car work. And then they cover it, and then they sand it all down, and then they paint it, and they look really sharp. So I was thinking about doing that for some Halloween stuff. I'd like to make like gauntlets, and which if you guys know what a gauntlet is, it's the armor glove. And I like to do leggings and just any kind of piece, chest pieces, helmets, anything, because I like to be creative, and I think it's something I can do sitting here, being disabled at home, So anyway, but yeah, it was an idea, I thought, Plus, I'm also going to be starting getting repro work going again. So if you guys have any repros you may want, let me know. I might be able to help you out for a decent price. Anyway, but yeah, that's it. That's my tale today and little extra stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. And I'm Jason, Video Game Corner, and see you later. Bye. Thanks.